So earlier today, I'm on Twitter, right? Probably taking a shit. That's when I'm on Twitter, that's what I do. And I come across a tweet, an interesting tweet that I can't get out of my mind, and I got to discuss it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. It's a question from House of Highlights. Who has the better starting five after recent moves, Mavs or Sixers? Now, we don't know officially what the starting lineup's going to be for each team, but we can assume it's going to be pretty close to this. So the Mavs, we got basically the same starting five that they had in the finals, right? Other than, instead of Derrick Jones Jr., it's Klay Thompson. Now, Klay Thompson might start, he might not. Actually, I'm pretty sure he is starting. That's how they got him to go there. They solidified him as the starter. Don't know how many minutes he's going to play, but he's a starter. And so we got Kyrie, we got Klay, Luka, PJ Washington, and Derek Lively. With the Sixers, we got a whole new lineup right here. We got Maxey, we got Eric Gordon, we got Kelly Oubre, we got PG 13 now on the Philadelphia 76ers. If you haven't watched my video on this move, I go into great detail about what it means for both teams and my thoughts about it on the channel. And we got, of course, the MVP himself, Embiid. Now, before I get into which one I would pick, I want to discuss the moves each team made. I made a video detailing Klay going to the Mavs, and I made a video detailing about Paul George going to the Philadelphia 76ers, but this transforms both teams in certain ways, right? With the Mavs, you know, what really made their downfall in the finals is they didn't, there's multiple reasons, but a big reason was their shooters. They did not have a reliable outside the corner shooting. No one could hit outside the corner. Like PJ Washington, if you catch him in the corner, man, he's flaming. Derrick Jones Jr., catch him in the corner, it's pretty good. But above the break, hey, no one can hit nothing other than Kyrie or Luka. So Klay Thompson infuses that better than most anyone would. That's what he does. So that really helps the Mavericks in spacing because, you know, when Klay Thompson's on the floor, you got to hug him. You can't leave him. I really want to know how they're going to incorporate Klay in terms of like the movement shooting, because that's really what he excels at, is like coming off a screen, catching that ball right out from the screen and launching that. See how they're going to incorporate this. And then with Philadelphia, they got another on-ball creator in Paul George that can get his own. I still wish Paul George would get to the rim more. He can get to the rim. What pisses me off is he can get to the rim, but he settles for the mid-range pull-ups. He's great at those, but I wish he would get to the rim just that much more. So both teams improved greatly this offseason. Next, I want to discuss the matchups. So who's going to be guarding who? So in this hypothetical, it's not really a hypothetical. They could be playing each other before this upcoming season. But in this, I'm not going to think about the benches. I'm not going to think about anyone else. I'm just going to think about this five versus that five. There's no way Klay, post-injury, is going to be guarding Maxey. I'm sorry. Maxey is one of the fastest people in the NBA I've ever seen. John Wall was blazing fast. De'Aaron Fox is blazing fast. But Tyrese, I mean, there's something about him where it's just like, bam. Just his acceleration is ridiculous. So Klay is not going to be guarding him. I'm telling you this much. I'm assuming what's going to happen is it's going to be Luka guarding Eric Gordon, Kyrie guarding Maxey, Klay guarding Oubre, PJ guarding Paul George, and Lively guarding Embiid. Before I go any further, though, we got to address the elephant in the room. No one's stopping Luka. No one's stopping Embiid. So if you're looking at these lineups like, man, who's going to guard Embiid? Who's going to guard Luka? Stop there, because no one's going to do that. Are you going to be able to contain the rest of them? Is really what you're looking at in this situation. I really think Maxey and Kyrie are kind of a wash, even though I feel like Maxey has just leveled up so much, he might actually be more productive. Say this is a series, I would bet more on Maxey being great over Kyrie. I mean, the age has to come into this and stuff like that, but I'm betting on Maxey over Kyrie. Hate me? You can let me know what you think. Luka is just basically just going to be watching on defense, essentially. Like, if he doesn't have to play defense, he's not going to play defense. That's what that final series really exposes. Like, who's ever on Luka, you're going to be able to get something because he bears so much offensively that he really takes off on defense. He just does. So he's going to be guarding Aaron Gordon. You know, Eric Gordon loves those hash shots where he just stands deep behind the three at the hash and he just launches those bitches. And he's really good at it too. I remember when in those Warrior Rocket series, he was a pain because he would be out there. You have to actually guard him because he's actually pretty good from back there. And once he did that, he was a pretty good straight line driver to the rim. And he would actually dust up the Warriors from time to time. Kelly Oubre versus Clay. Kelly Oubre can sleep from time to time off ball, but I just don't know how the Mavericks aren't going to be like the Warriors where they're really going to expose someone that sleeps off ball. I don't know how much the Mavericks are going to change their offense for Clay. I think they're going to do it somewhat, but how much will that be is the question. I think that could be a wash, but more likely often than not, Clay is going to have the upper hand in terms of like production for the team. PJ Washington versus Paul George. Yeah, I'm taking PG on that one. I mean, Paul George is an A1, maybe A2 scorer. You know, he can go cold from time to time, but that's because he doesn't get to the rim too much. You know, that's what I would like to see is him getting to the rim more often. But I mean, he's older. He's had a bunch of injuries. He's got a fucking metal rod in his leg, so I don't blame him. I think PG would eat him up. Pause. And then Embiid and Lively. I mean, Lively, he was way better than I ever thought he would be in his rookie season. He was really good, but Embiid's just different. Embiid's just way different of some. Remember when Embiid had 70 on Wemby? Who would you have picked as was the better defender last year in their rookie year, Lively or Wemby? You're going to pick Wemby, right? Maybe not in a post-up situation because Lively has more girth and shit and more strength, but still, Wemby's a much better defender and he dropped 70 on him. Lively is going to be able to do nothing with him. They're going to have to double team Embiid. And now Embiid has, when he kicks out, he has some better options to kick to in Paul George and Eric Gordon. So it's really going to be tough on how you guard each team. Now, the thing about this question is you're not going to take into account health, right? Is it hypothetical who you got, which starting five you think is better? You're not really playing a game. You're just kind of hypothetically thinking. You just eyeball it, man. Who you got? You got them or them? That's what's tough for me. I'm kind of stalling here. I'm not gonna lie, because I really don't have an answer. It's really tough. They're on the same plane. But if I had to pick one, which I'm gonna have to do, I'm gonna go Sixers. I really am. I think they have the upper hand. Luka's gonna get his buckets. But I don't think they're gonna be able to force Embiid to get out the paint. I think it's gonna be just protecting the rim down there. And then they got PG and Maxey, A1 scorers, and I just think they have more firepower at the end of the day. Both teams are going to struggle defending each other, but I really think in this hypothetical with these five versus this five, I have to go Sixers. Y'all should let me know who you taking because I really want to know. Either way, you're not wrong. It's a tough decision, but I'm going to have to go Sixers. And now I actually want to look at some comments, see what people say. Mavs, the Clay move, maybe the best move in free agency so far. I can't agree with that, bro. Because, Paul George moved teams, right? I'm taking Paul George over Clay any day. I love Clay. He's a splash brother. But there's no way that was the best move in free agency. It's a good move. But Paul George, you got Paul George in free agency. Any team would do that. Is that Eric Gordon? I say, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if Eric Gordon, I don't think he would start. I don't know. But I'm not thinking of who's going to start. It's this 5 versus that 5. So, yeah, it's kind of wild to see Eric Gordon in the starting 5. He didn't even start for the Suns, I don't think. Sixers got switched Tobias Harris with Paul George. Even though I think Mavs are more capable of being successful in the postseason, Sixers made a bigger, better move. Yeah, they made a big move with the Paul George. I mean, it's hard to beat that. But Dallas other than Clay, they got a few other guys I like. Quentin Grimes. They got Najee Marshall. I like both those moves. So they both improved really. Like, they're both better than they were last year. This person's got Kyrie over Maxey. I wouldn't agree. Thompson over Gordon. I agree. Luka over Oubre, of course. PG over Washington. I agree with that. And Embiid over Lively. Mavs in 7. Oh, he's going with the series. In a series, I don't know. Luka's tough in a series, bro. He's gonna dissect you. And then like in a series, it's easier to take away a post score. I mean, that's not all Embiid does, but that's a big part of his game. That'd be a series. I don't know what I would do in a series. That's tough. Mavs just lost in the finals because their defense and they added Clay for whatever reason. Sixers clear. Yeah, Clay is not going to help your defense. Now, pre-injury Clay, he's going to help your defense tremendously. That's exactly what they need. But that's where they got a bunch of other guys to fill in to, if they need more defense, to go like a Najee Marshall route, or maybe Quentin Grimes is an underrated defender in my opinion. I think he's pretty good. But they got people to infuse if one person's slacking on one end. I may be biased, but give me the Mavs. Judging by the profile picture, I'm going to say most people want to admit they're biased. Good on you for admitting you're biased. Celtics in 5. All right, I'm done reading at that point. An interesting question that comes off of this is, how do they stack up in these teams stack up in their respective conferences? Because the Mavs were like a 5th seed last year, I think, right? 5th seed. And last year, Sixers were a 7th or 8th seed. But Embiid was injured for a lot of that time. And Maxey was injured for some of that time. So, and the West and East have actually both gotten better somehow through this offseason so far, even though it's early in the offseason. I would have to say Mavs is a top 4 team in the West. We got OKC, Wolves. I'm not saying in any specific order, but OKC, Wolves, Denver, Mavs. That's my 4 in some order. The Sixers, how do they stack up? Well, I think they're at least top 3 in the East. You got the Celtics, the Knicks, and the Sixers in some order. Top 3, that's what I got. Some people would say the Bucks, but I just think they're lacking so much around Giannis and Dame that I have to go with those 3 more. But this was a fun thought exercise to indulge in. Y'all have to let me know who you picked though. You picked the Mavs or you picked the Sixers. I picked the Sixers. I don't know in a series, but just a one-off, just like eyeballing who has the better starting 5. I'm going Sixers right now. I don't know if Aaron Gordon is gonna really start though. That's what I'm not sure of. But yeah, let me know.